Going back to Szantor's article, that you mentioned that you kind of had an aversion to drum parts and you'd stick with lead trumpets. Where was the first time when you really sat down and worked out drum charts or learned how to read a drum chart?
Well, I always had drum parts there. In other words, see, I spent all my time playing piano and trombone, so I could read.
So you could read music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably better than the drummers.
Right.
Because, I was into all the reading. But the drum parts, basically, and I still believe this, are, it's the last part that they copy. It's the one that the composer feels he needs to put the least amount of effort into.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially a jazz thing.
Yeah.
They figure, so they fluff it off usually. They either give you nothing or they give you so much that you don't know what's up. All you want is a road map. You want a miniature score on basically punctuation and who's doing it, especially who's doing it. I mean, on a drum part they'll have a kick and they don't say who it is or nothing. So about all you can do is look up and see who's got their horn on the
Okay.
So you figure if it's the whole band, then you can lay into it,
Right.
But if you just see one flute, then, but they don't tell you on the part.
Well, if you were going to write a drum chart, how would you do it?
Well, the way we've been doing it around here, since the composers around here know I don't like them, I ask them to do it this way. Write the actual line, like for instance, if it's a 2D section where the whole band's playing, give me the lead line of whoever's playing the melody. We'll say lead trumpet. Write his actual notes down, so I know the shape of the line.
All right.
Because in a drum part, all you got is these static notes of, looks like a typewriter, just straight across. You don't know the shape of the line, because the higher the note in lead trumpet, like if he's got a series of eighth notes, and it starts on a D in the staff, and then in the middle of that line, it goes up to high D, you figure it's going to get stronger.
Right.
And then maybe it comes back down. Well, you can shape it right there, but if it's on the drum part, you can't shape nothing. It's just, you don't know where it's going.
Even if they have dynamic markings?
Yeah, all that, see. Give me everything that he's got on his button. Accidentals, everything.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, in other words, suppose you had, a trumpet part written out that was maybe 2 or 4 measures or something, and it was still written like a normal drum part. Okay, but they gave you dynamic markings that it was going to start off.
No, I don't like the dynamic markings. Usually they don't put them in anyway. They don't need to give me dynamic markings like that. All they got to do is just write the line down.
Okay.
If they write the line down, it's real natural for me, but then it may not be for another drummer. I think maybe they're thinking that way.
All right.
But seeing how I played horn all my life when I was young, I can feel what they're going to get into just by the shape of that line.
So you could almost sight read the line and know what it's going to sound like.
Yeah, you can just feel it out. I can really tell what's happening. And then punctuation I need, and who's doing it. If it's a sax punctuation, once again write the note in. I prefer the note that they're actually playing, the lead player.
Okay.
If it's a lead trombone, and they're doing little bips and bops behind somebody, give me the actual note they got. Because if it's a high note, I figure it's going to be a little more of a pop. Not always, but I can psych it out first time because, sure, if you're on a road band, it doesn't matter because in 7 days you got the chart down anyway. By road, but I like to get a chart first time.
Now, what about charts when they've got everything written out, like for a drummer, where you're reading through and they got all your cymbals and the hi-hat and the bass drum and...
Well, of course, that's totally out of it. I mean, you can't play that way.
That's tough.
Obviously, first of all, you're going to be playing time. Give me a lot of English words, like the swing, swing beat. Or, describe something in English words would be better than try to write it out like they do a Jim Chapin book or something.
Okay.
Just describe it. It's like Bill Holman when I read his drum parts. They're real good. He doesn't write the lines out like I'm talking, but he uses a lot of English words. Like he bust in or,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, stuff like that. He'll actually describe the idea in English words. That way, that makes a lot of sense to a drummer rather than trying to, write the cymbal crash and all that.
I remember Ron Spignardi made I thought it was a great point. He said that drum set players are the only instrumentalists that there is no standard as far as writing writing out the parts.
Right, and I guess it might be different with every drummer, but I do feel that if the drummer could see the shape of the line, he doesn't have to be a horn player to know what's going up and what's coming down.
Mm-hmm.
If he saw the shape of that line, and if he saw ledger lines and things like that, it might be all right for him. But then again, I'm coming from a horn player's viewpoint.
Yeah.
More than a drummer's.
Yep.
And I guess that's why I don't like drum parts. I still don't read it. In the